Lately I just wanna run it up. Count a check or something. I've been really in the field, let up, yeah. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Half a ticket to a meal. Lately I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Count a check or something. Lately I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up, yeah. Count it up, count it up, count it up. Lately I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives, need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with J, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately I just wanna run it up.
Yes, indeed. We got Marcus Mosher in the building, and we getting ready to talk Dallas Cowboys football. Welcome to the show, The Final Word. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm excited to do this.
All right. So, actually, we getting ready to go and start very hot because we actually going to start the show with a debate, and we're going to kind of talk about some of the things that your opinion on it. We had a debate the last show, and we go kick it off now, get your opinion on it, and kind of go from there. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So the question on the table is CeeDee Lamb becoming the new #1 receiver. Is that true or false?
That's a really good question. So we actually talked about this on the Locked On Cowboys podcast on Monday. It's coming. Now, when is it coming? That's the question, right? Is it in week 1? Is it by the end of this season? Is it in 2022? I love Amari Cooper. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's the best route runner in football. But CeeDee's different, right? Like CeeDee is going to be a monster in the NFL. And I think by the end of the 2021 season, it'll be pretty clear to everybody who's the best receiver on this team.
So what I'm trying to make sure I understand you correctly, are you saying, I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, you saying
you already heard
this
it.
is the debate.
You heard it.
This is the debate we having, Marcus, and you the final tiebreaker.
He just said it.
Saying for the, hey, I'm trying to get it out, y'all.
You're taking too long.
Marcus Mosher is on the side of right. Let's just say that right now.
Where's you saying for?
No, we gotta let them.
You said he was.
What's the controversy here? What's the problem? These guys are both really good.
It said true or false.
No problem.
People in the comment box, y'all put in true or false in the comment box.
You heard what he said, boss. He said, "Listen, is it week 1? Is it middle of the year? Or is it end of the year?" And just like me and OC said it when we had the show last time, we said we're not taking nothing away from Coop. We know he's a great route runner. We know what Cooper is. We know he's a dog. But just like Marcus Mosher just said, he said CeeDee Lamb is different, and he will take over that role. And where we're talking about game changers. You can have a game where Cooper can get about 8 catches for 100 yards, and they'd be nasty. But CeeDee can get about 4 catches for 80, but they be game-changing plays. And that's why I'm calling him the game changer.
Hold up, Marcus. Let me get you caught up. I'm going to get you all the way caught up on what this fight is about. And you going to be the tiebreaker. I'm dead serious, too.
Okay.
Here we go.
You know,
I see straight up Cooper as the game changer. I really do. Like, do you see Cooper as your game changer?
I mean, he's been that the last 2 years.
We're going to go first with that one. You talking the big game?
Well, hold on. You know what I'm doing. Here we go.
I love being a Cowboy.
Big game James.
Game changer.
Let's have some fun. Let's have a good time, man. Let's kick it.
So is he your game changer, bro? Because that's your segment, the game changer. because he my game changer.
I love some Coop. But CeeDee Lamb gonna be my game changer, dog.
That's where it started.
I'm sorry.
It started from that blasphemy right there. That's where this
Ain't no
whole
blasphemy.
debate, and it went
Ain't no
crazy,
blasphemy.
Marcus, I'm gonna tell you right now, it went crazy. It went crazy all over Twitter. It went crazy, and so you really gotta settle this.
Why can't we just appreciate both of these guys? They're both really good. They're
Here's-
both really
Marcus,
good.
here's the thing. We do appreciate them, but we just happen to bring it up. We was talking about game changers. And so we love both of them. But if you're talking about a surgical receiver, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper. Surgically, he's going to kill you surgically. He's going to kill you with his route running. He's going to kill you that way. He's going to be consistent that whole game. When we're talking about some game-changing plays, I feel like CeeDee Lamb will be that player. That's not taking nothing away from Coop. You're talking about a game changer. And when you see CeeDee Lamb when you played last year, you saw his game changing, what kind of game changing ability he has, especially yards after catch. He's going to be really good with yards after catch, and he already had a great rapport with Dak. I think he had like 29 catches in the first 5 games with Dak Prescott, so he was averaging almost 6 catches a game with Dak before he went out. He still had 74 catches in the year and almost eclipsed 1,000 yards his first year with backups. So what do you think he's not going to do with year 2? And Mike McCarthy says he knows all 3 positions, so we're not going to relegate him in the slot.
Yeah, so to your credit, Big Game, the first 5 weeks of the season, he was on pace for almost 1,400 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So there is a chance that he gets there this year in that offense. I think I agree with you, though. Like, I think if I want the guy that's more consistent, it's probably Amari. Like, I think you can rely on him to get open on
There you
37,
go.
Right. But if you want the guy to have the Dez Bryant type of game, the 120 yards and 3 touchdowns like we saw in Philadelphia in 2014, I do think it's CeeDee. I think he has that potential to just get red hot.
Game changer. He won. We won. Me and OC won. We don't need to talk about it. Let's go to the next subject. Marcus just ended it. Thank you. He did.
Wait a second. Wait a second, boss.
We're not going to
Wait a
keep Marcus
second.
on here. Hey, boss. We're not going to keep Marcus on here for the last 30 minutes talking about it. He just answered it. He said CeeDee Lamb is dope, but game changer, that's CeeDee Lamb.
No, wait.
But
Let the man answer
excuse
himself.
me, it just excuse me right quick. When you said Desmond Bryant I don't look at CeeDee Lamb as being a Desmond Bryant I look at him being a Deshaun Hopkins or DeAndre Hopkins, I meant to say. He's more of the Dez-like type of wide receiver that we got is wearing number 13. And I can't think that you guys would just sit here and just remove his name off of this list, because this year's the contract year for my dog, Michael Gallup. So y'all better look out for that, because he might just be that game changer.
I agree with you. I think
in
in terms of like body and physicality and winning, and the contested catches, I do agree with you with Gallup. What I meant from CeeDee being Dez-like is in the biggest moments of the game, when you need somebody to score in the red zone or you need a big play, I think I trust CeeDee a little bit more than Amari or Gallup. That's what I meant by the Dez-like impact.
Yeah, and I
feel
think
what
that's
you're saying,
fair.
Marcus, on that.
I do want to ask you a question, because we still in a major fight over game changer, and I just want to throw one more thing at you. What about, because in gymnastics, you're a sports guy. Degree of difficulty is very, very important to the final score. And we know Cooper is drawing the doubles and he's drawing the first team corner. So when you also add that weight of what's on Cooper, like, how can he not be the game changer? Because Marcus, I'm gonna tell you, I use your Excels to fight haters, okay? So I know about your breakdowns of how Cooper changed Dak back instantly. So can
Leading
you
the
talk
witness,
about
boss
the
cowboy.
degree of difficulty, please?
So you might not like this answer, boss. I think of the 3 receivers, I think Gallup has the hardest job, because he a lot of times is the X receiver, and he's running the deepest routes of all 3. That's why he averaged almost 16 yards per reception last year, even with bad quarterback play. A lot of his targets are coming 15, 20 yards down the field, and those are just much harder routes and throws than a 7-yard slant. That's not to take away from Amari. It's just that I do think Gallup's role is the hardest on the team, and maybe that's why he doesn't get enough credit.
And we talked about that a lot in the show, Marcus. I talked about in particular that Gallup operates primarily at the top of that route tree, right? He's running the 6s, the 7s, the 8s, and the 9 routes, right? And that's a lot of times clearing out the intermediate routes and the work one-on-one to give Cooper space when they're playing a 2-deep zone. So he's able to work even against a number 1 corner and find soft spots within that zone to get his catches.
And that's why the Cowboys have the best wide receiver core in football, right? Because Gallup, Amari, and CD all work so well together. They all do different things at a really high level. That's why this offense, I think we would all be very disappointed if they finished outside this top, 5 in points per game. They should average close to 30 points per game.
Absolutely.
Hey, let me throw a curveball at you right quick, Marcus. Where do you place Kellen Moore at as a mind of the offense? Do you think that he's still going through growing pains, or he's arrived yet?
Well, last year it's hard to tell because, man, playing with 4 different quarterbacks and playing with the offensive lines that he did, it's really hard to get a good gauge on Kellen Moore. But I'm very encouraged. I don't think he's in the Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid tier, but that next group. Absolutely. I love how aggressive he was on first downs. I love the play action rates that he uses, the pre-snap motion. I think we're about a year away from calling Kellen Moore one of the best offensive minds in football.
Is he better than the offensive mind of the guy over there in Buffalo?
Brian Daboll? Oh, that's a good one. I think they're in the same tier. And it probably just depends on the week that, the one you're picking.
Now,
I like Marcus.
I do want to highlight some stuff from your show, okay? Because he has a fire podcast, Locked On Cowboys podcast. You have to go over there now, like, share, and subscribe. So, because we go play a couple of clips with the video, and we go talk about it. Because we go talk about this stuff because this is good stuff. Here we go. And Landon, fire. Love Landon. So here we go. Check this out.
Sure. I don't think that's the plan for Parsons. I don't think the plan for Parsons is for him to be KJ Wright either. I think it's to be a kind of hybrid of both of those spots and deploy
and maybe it's just that we haven't seen this player in the NFL yet. Like, he might be like a unicorn, right? This might be just a new hybrid role of linebacker that hasn't existed in the NFL before this year.
And that conversation was about Micah Parsons. So, Liz, I was listening to you, and you was getting me a little bit too excited. So one thing I don't do is I don't drink Kool-Aid. I don't, unless I measure it. I measure it. But that was a good point you raised. When have we ever seen a player like Parsons?
I'm not sure that we have, and that doesn't mean that he's a perfect player because he's not. He's got flaws. I think he's pretty raw. I mean, he's really only played linebacker for two years. However, the traits and the skill set that he has is pretty rare. Like, we don't see 6'3", 245-pound linebackers that run in the 4.3s, that can rush off the edge, that can drop into coverage, and can make plays in space. I think he's pretty rare, and if he hits, oh boy, the Cowboys are going to have a special, special weapon on defense.
Let me ask you this right quick, Marcus. I didn't mean to jump in, but I just want to ask you this question. Once Micah Parsons got drafted, me and Boss have been talking back and forth. A lot of people are asking, would you be mad if you took Micah Parsons? We both agreed, like, no, we wouldn't be mad. We would definitely go with Micah Parsons if it was available. What I want to ask you is, as soon as he got drafted and I watched a lot of his tape and I just seen his personality and everything, I know this might be a reach. I know this might be crazy. But I just really feel that he could be the Dak Prescott of this defense, and that's what I said from A1, day one. I feel like he has the type of personality. I feel he has the athletic ability, and I feel like he has the football ability and the smarts to be able to do that. Am I jumping out there on a limb by myself saying he could be something like that for Dallas?
No, I don't think you're crazy because by the accounts of a lot of really smart people, this is one of the best linebacker prospects that we've seen in the last decade. I mean, I think he's right there with Luke Kuechly in terms of a linebacker prospect. I'm not saying that he's going to be Kuechly, but he's pretty rare. And I do think he's got the leadership ability that you want. He's got the athleticism. And if it all clicks, yeah, I think that's a cornerstone of your defense that you could build around for the next 5 or 6 years.
And one thing that I said, even on draft day, Marcus, about him is that the wild card factor that I love about him, besides the athleticism and the coverage and the speed sideline to sideline, is the ability to rush. I think that he's going to be a joker for the Dallas Cowboys in that 4-3 under defense, rushing from the outside and putting pressure and consistently being able to beat linebackers and tight ends and running backs that try to block him. So I think that that's going to be, I think, a layer of distinction that really separates him from the pack in terms of his overall impact on that defense, in my opinion.
I would agree. You don't see many off-the-ball linebackers rushing the quarterback on a high percentage of their snaps. And this is maybe the thing I'm looking forward to seeing the most at training camp in the preseason is, where do they rush Parsons? Is it as a traditional defensive end in the 4-3? Is it, in blitz packages and on stunts? Because I think if that's the plan, is to put him in the A gaps and let him blitz, he could easily get 7 or 8 sacks as a rookie. Like, that's not out of the equation at all. But I do have some concerns if they try to turn him into Bruce Irvin, because I don't think he's that type of player. I think he's better having him in space, letting him kind of just find the quarterback and not necessarily have a single gap to maintain. That's where you're going to find the best success for him.
But what about the speed mismatch, right, on 4-3 speed? Because I played offensive tackle in college and a little bit professionally, and I played against, and I'll give you a name, and you might be your football guy, so you might remember this guy, Antoine Peak. He was the guy that played out of Cincinnati. He was the guy that ran a 4.5 40, and he scared me to death. Now, he didn't beat me for any sacks, but for me to get ready for him, Marcus, the only way I could simulate that was to have a backup defensive cornerback rush me off the football so I could get used to those first 2 steps. What do you think about that from an outside perspective, perhaps? Because I think that speed kills, and it's very, very hard to train, and his first 2 steps are explosive. And I think in the right scenarios, he could create some havoc even from that position.
You're right. I mean, the speed off the edge is going to be really hard for offensive tackles to stop. Now, as he plays longer in the league, tackles will have an idea of how to stop him. Right? They'll get out of their stance quickly. They'll prepare for the speed rush. Where Parsons could really make an impact is if he can develop any kind of counter, whether that's an inside spin move, whether that's a little bit of a hump move, right? Because tackles are going to be so eager to get back in their steps that the inside is going to be wide open. We did see in high school, Parsons was pretty good as a pass rusher in that area. So that's why I am excited about the potential of him as a full-time pass rusher.
And you know what gets me excited about that, what you just said, Marcus, is when you said if he can have some counter moves. What gets me excited is that he's already been talking with D-Law. D-Law, they said that he reached out to him and said, "Hey, Rook, I didn't know you could rush the passer." He's like, "Yeah, I was DN in high school. Well, come over here with me and let's learn some stuff," because we know about D-Law and his hand fighting and how good he is with that. And you just said if he can learn some counter moves. Now, if he sits over there with DeMarcus Lawrence and gets with him and learns some counter moves, this kid can be an animal. I already said that he can get 5 sacks. Not saying easy, but he can definitely get 5 sacks. And I'm going to agree with you, Marcus. If they put him in position where they let him move around and just let him be free and let him just create havoc, I feel like you're going to see the best out of Micah Parsons in his rookie year.
He should get 5 sacks just on athleticism and hustle alone. He really should, because he's just going to be so much more athletic than anything offenses are used to. So if he's on the field in passing situations, which I expect him to, he should have a pretty monster stat line as a rookie.
Yes, sir.
You spitting the facts over there. And especially when you're talking about blitzing off the edge there, I think that even if it's off of Randy Gregory's side, if you pay attention to the tackles, they already widen out because they know for sure Gregory got that bend. He can get off to that edge. So, hey, offensive coordinators, they're going to have to think about number 11 out there on the field. So you're right.
And I mean, if they keep Jalen out on the field as well, in their nickel packages, those are 2 guys that can really rush the passer really well. So if this is a defense that wants to be more aggressive and they want to be more multiple up front, Jalen and Parsons give you a lot of interesting looks.
Who do you guys starting as your base on the linebackers?
I think it'll probably be Micah Parsons at will and Jalen as the middle linebacker. I mean, your nickel is basically your base, but it's tough because I think Vander Esch is going to play a lot, right? I mean, he's gonna factor in, and Keanu Neal is obviously somebody the coaching staff loves. I'll be honest. I don't know how Van Der Esch fits on this defense because I'm not sure what his best spot is. It's not middle linebacker because he just doesn't want to take on blocks. And I'm not sure he's fast or quick enough to play as a weak side linebacker. So that's the one guy that I can't figure out.
So you think Cox is going to fight for that more plan?
I think he'll be like the 4th or 5th linebacker this year. He'll probably play I don't know, 5 to 10% of the snaps, but he'll play a lot on special teams. I think they want to be cautious with Cox.
Oh, wow. Y'all heard it first over here.
Heard it first over here. Now, we got time for one more question to keep our promise to you. All right. Now,
let's talk about the right.
One of the things that you took away that I really want to highlight, you came away saying that you was basically, matter of fact, let me just play it, and then we'll let everybody else decide what you're saying. Here we go.
We're wondering, hey, could Tyron maybe hang it up early? He's dealt with so many injuries. He's already played 9 or 10 years. Maybe this is the last time we see Tyron. That doesn't appear to be the case at all. Like you don't get that surgery to only play 1 more year, right?
Yeah.
You get that surgery because you're planning on playing much, much longer. It's Tyron Smith. He was talking to the media. I want to read you a quote that he had. He said, talking about his neck, it's one of those injuries where it was a stinger here and there, and I started losing feeling in my left arm. He said, it's been an issue for my entire career. He said, now it's stronger than it ever was before. That is a terrifying thought for
That's so scary.
That Tyron Smith, a left tackle, basically had no strength in his left arm and still was one of the best tackles in the NFL.
Yeah. That's deep. That's
I mean, Marcus, I really want to talk to you about this one in particular, if it's okay.
The man got 30 minutes. That's the last question.
I know it's the very last question, and listen, I'm going to make this extremely concise. Look, Tyron, this is a cervical neck, right, which is like one of the worst injuries you could possibly have, especially with the blunt force trauma that you have at that tackle position. Now, listen, I love Tyron Smith. I hope he plays another 10 years in the league if he could, right? But I'm concerned. I am concerned. I'm concerned that if he gets hit in the wrong way, if he gets caught up with a nasty bull rush or having to step off and headbutt somebody really hard, that he jars that neck and he loses some extremity feelings, and then we're back to our secondary tackle now. What's your take on that situation? And do you anticipate him playing all 16 games? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't. Do you see him making it through the season without any scars or blemishes?
All right, so let's first talk about the injury. I think the concern about the neck and the spine is real, and that's why he got the surgery. I think there was parts of the 2019 and early parts of the 2020 season where the Cowboys were concerned if he takes the wrong hit, he could be done. It doesn't sound like they're concerned about it at all. Like the issue was fixed. There were times during the 2019 season where he couldn't really feel his hand at all, and he was still going out there and playing and dominating edge rushers. So the Cowboys feel really good about it. Tyron Smith said he's going to play until the wheels fall off. I don't anticipate him probably playing all 17 games, but if we could get 14, 15 games out of a healthy Tyron Smith, I would take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Me too. I agree. 100%.
Yep.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yep.
A 40% Tyron Smith is better than the majority of the tackles in the NFL. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And what gets you excited, at least, when he says he's not trying to walk away. I think that's the thing that excites me about it, is that he says, I want to keep playing until I can't play no more. So I think that's the exciting part, because maybe you hear about players that they've been through those injuries and they're like, we'll see what happens. But from his mindset, hopefully that's the mindset where he's like, I don't care, I want to keep going. So hopefully that body holds up, because a healthy Tyron is a better team for Dallas.
Well, look at like Anthony Costanzo, the left tackle for the Colts. Same draft class as Tyron Smith. He hung him up this offseason, right? Tyron, has had more injuries than Costanzo. So I think it was certainly fair for people to be worried about him potentially retiring. So for Tyron to basically come out and say, hey, I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon. I want to keep playing well into my 30s. I think Cowboy fans should be breathing a big sigh of relief there.
That's the thing that I love before you have to get out of here, is that people didn't catch that you were saying that that's where you're bullish, that you're seeing that this man has been playing through that much pain his whole career and was that dominant, and now he fixed it. And what I was loving, it was, and I never even highlighted this or caught this, but his point was, what I was hearing you say is, if Tyron Smith is corrected and we get another 3 years or 4 years of at least 14, 15 games, that is epic for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Tyron doesn't get that surgery if he's not planning on playing 5 or 6 more years, because, I mean, he said it in his quote, like, he could have played through the 2020 season and dealt with it, managed it, but he wanted to get it fixed so he could play better as he ages into his mid-late 30s. That's the biggest takeaway. And now that he's healthy, I think this might be the best Tyron that we've seen maybe since 2016.
Oh my!
Ooh, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Marcus, is this his first surgery ever? Like,
Yeah.
as far as the
I
NFL?
think it is, isn't it?
He's had some other minor things, but nothing as serious as this. But listen, I'll be honest. When he got the surgery, I anticipated, and from the people I was talking to, they were hoping that he would be ready to go by training camp. For him to be already on the field in OTAs and mini camps and basically doing everything, I think it tells you everything you need to know about where Tyron is right now.
Yeah, dedication.
The nation.
And Dak's back. You know, Dak, hey, one last thing. I'm going to jump off of this. Dak motivates you. And if you listen to a lot of the players, when they said they were and you listen to Tyron Smith, let me just say this. Tyron Smith said himself, he was watching Dak in his rehab, and watching Dak in his rehab motivated him and motivated everybody else to stay on their job. If this dude is out there working, then I need to be out there working. And that's just a testament to Dak Prescott, how he raised the level of everybody else.
You noticed at OTAs, nobody was missing, right? They were all there.
Exactly.
That's because of Dak, right? Like, if Dak is willing to fight back from this ankle injury, and he's going to be on practice, and he's going to be out there doing everything, you better believe that everybody else is going to need to be there as well.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Well,
Good
Marcus,
stuff, man.
obviously, thank you for coming out. And I want everybody to make sure y'all support his podcast and support everything that's going on. He's a self-made guy. He's a guy that built from the trenches. So whenever you see somebody who made themselves basically from their gift, making room for them, you always want to kind of support them because they're in it for the passion. Do you have any final words? And definitely tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys so much for having me on. This is a blast. This is easily my favorite show right now on YouTube. So make sure you guys, you're already subscribing.
Okay.
You guys already know. Locked On Cowboys. Every day we do a podcast all season long. Make sure you guys check us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your shows.
All right, now. Thank you so much for coming out. And then we go do this again. Let's grow together. And let's talk
Absolutely.
football
Thanks,
together.
fellas.
All right,
yes,
now.
absolutely.
Hey, we
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you. Take it easy.
All right,
Have a
thank you,
good night.
Marcus.
Yeah,
Have a good
you
one.
saw that Vince Young jersey in the back, and you had that
nah,
Michael
yeah,
Vick.
he like ballers. Yeah.
Yeah, he got
ballers.
them nice jerseys. He got them
Was
balling
that- was
jerseys.
that Bush? Was that Reggie.
Yeah, I just had Reggie.
Reggie.
Reggie was nasty in college, boy.
He
Man,
was
I don't know
looked like
who
a
was better,
Matrix.
Young or Reggie.
Reggie.
Oh, I got to give it. Reggie was, but I'm gonna take Young because of Texas. Hook 'em, baby. Hook 'em, baby. You remember that championship, baby?
Yeah, hey, that got Vince Young a lot of money. That got him a huge contract. That one game got him a huge contract.
Hey, but let's just say I give him his due though. His first couple years, Vince was exciting, man.
Yeah,
He was, no doubt.
So real quick, fellas, I mean, what was kind of the high points y'all got of it? I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the high points that I got of it was his take on Tyron Smith and his take on Parsons being just like the type of player with an upside that you can't even describe ever saying you've seen a player like him. I wanted y'all to expound on that if you get him sick.
Well, I want to say one thing. You running away. I noticed how you mentioned Parsons and you mentioned Tyron Smith, but you ran away from the CD thing because what? But that's okay. But that's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's okay. But that's okay. But that's okay. I get it. I get it.
Back to that.
No. Let's not touch it.
changer.
We're not gonna touch it, boss. But I appreciate Marcus for you said he was the tiebreaker. and we won. So just thank you, Marcus, once again, if you're still listening. Now, if
thank you, Marcus.
Go ahead, OC. Jump in there, OC. Just tell him.
No, man. Listen, all I'm gonna say is, look, I know my partner, love him to life, man. It's hard for him to admit an L, and it's okay.
I know.
It's all good. It's
okay.
very hard.
Freaking mind.
So listen. One thing I'll say just real quick, and I'm gonna kick it back to you, Big Game, is that look, I was very, very interested to see, and actually, Boss Cowboy, to your credit, you pointed out the LT earring in his first press conference, right?
Yeah,
so that gave
sure
a little bit of indication about what we're thinking about this guy. I think that if Parsons can stay clean, right, use his superior athletic ability, man, he's gonna make so many plays, it's gonna be ridiculous. But I'm gonna kick it back to you on that Big Game.
Oh man, I'm gonna just bounce off you with that, OC, and just like what you said, boss. I didn't peep that until you said that, and then that just made me think, okay, this dude must be different, because who does that? Okay, who does that? That's Lawrence Taylor. You feel me? But dog, just looking, I'm saying, man, I'm gonna stay with this. I said it from day one. Micah Parsons is going to be the Dak Prescott of this defense. I just feel like there's something different about this kid. I just feel like there's something different about him. He has the ability. I feel like he has the mindset. I feel like he has the leadership. He has the personality. And all they need to do is put him in the right positions to let him go nutty. And once he does it, I'm trying to tell y'all going to see how quick this defense jumps on his back and follows him. Now, I love D-Law, but I just feel like D-Law is the guy. I think we talked to somebody else. He's more of a guy that's going to do it by example. He's going to go in there and go hard. Micah Parsons is going to be able to get in that huddle and be like, come on, fellas, let's go. Let's do this. And I feel like everybody's going to listen to him because his play is going to match his talk. And we see it right now. Everybody, you just see it. When you look at Micah, you just want to listen to him. You just want to watch him. And that ability is going to go with that personality. I'm telling you, dog, we got a playmaker for a long, long time. And this was a great pick.
No doubt, man. So when you talk about Parsons, you think about all of the things that happened during this offseason. And one thing that I really paid attention to is that he's not afraid to lose. You learn more from your failures than your success. He called out the biggest guy in the chess game as relates to Amari Cooper. Not afraid to call him out. And now you can transpose that to the field. Yes. He's not afraid. He's not one of these guys that trying to look too cute, trying to be too wise. He's not trying to outspeak his wisdom tooth. He's out there. He's trying to make plays, and he's not afraid to call it out. So that alone makes millions and millions and millions of views of eyeballs go toward him on that Sunday, on that Monday night, on that Thursday night, as well as occasionally some Saturday. So I feel what you're saying, Big Game. He may just be that guy that's going to flip everything out as it relates to the defense.
OC, what you got on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of mentioned earlier, I think that he's a joker player. He's one of those guys that, if I can compare him to a player in terms of explosive playmaking ability that's recently retired, it would be a Troy Polamalu. How explosive Troy Polamalu was and making plays all over the field, except for Parsons is bigger and faster. If you can encapsulate that thought, you'll see what I'm saying. He's a guy that he's a joker guy. He can make plays all over the field. He's going to make plays in the pass game. He's going to make plays in the run game. I believe they will let him rush at least 25% of the time in some capacity. And I think that as he bumps up his productivity there, he may rush even more. But I think that he's a guy that can change the game. He's a guy that you can ISO. You can say, hey, Micah, we need you to take this guy out of the game. I need you to stick this guy. He's an eraser and he's a joker card, man. And I think that that's what's going to make him special.
All right, y'all. Just FYI, we got Tuck in the building. Tuck, we can hear you. So once we see you, once you show that the trim beard, we go put the camera on.
But I got to give Tuck one of these. Trench warfare! Y'all better watch out! We got the man that's gonna teach us down in the trenches. Let's get it, baby! Let me hear it again.
Say, listen,
I'm crazy, Tuck. I'm crazy.
Let me get into my office.
He going to his office. So
He going
listen
to his
now.
office.
This, hey, I'm excited for both of them. Listen, I was excited for Marcus, but hey, man, I'm dead serious. I can't wait to talk to him because I got to get the record set straight today on some stuff. It got to be the record set straight, and it's only gonna be Tuck that can do it. Say, listen. So yeah, man, we wait on Tuck. He going to the office. He getting ready to get the camera. But big game, you got the best relationship, man. I think it's just appropriate for you to kind of break down the big brother.
Hey, man.
There we go.
There
is he in there? Is he in there?
Yeah.
Well, let me get some flowers to my dog right quick. Let me get some flowers to my dog right quick. Appreciate you yesterday for giving me my happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you, big dog. But just a quick breakdown of my dog B Tuck, man. I can't even name all the daggone athletes since I known him that he been training and gotten to the league. Since we've been talking since 2018, he done got a plethora of people in the league. You see how much he been training them Cowboys. He got a hold of Tristan Hill. He gets a hold of Alden Smith. You seen what Alden Smith did when B Tuck got a hold of him. You see what Alden Smith did. That's what B Tuck does. He is the QB killer. He raised them from middle school. He raised them from preschool. He get them boys when they coming out the womb and get them right, man. If you get with B Tuck, you going to the pros.
There you go.
We can hear
my
you,
dog.
His phone
is he froze
for just 1
Oh,
second.
that's a perfect picture too.
But yeah, man, no, his resume speaks loud. So as soon as he get back, because we can hear you, Coach. We just can't see you. Turn your phone to the side, and maybe we'll pick it up. But go ahead. There it is.
There you go, Coach.
There you go. There you go, Coach.
It's always a trick. It's always a trick too. But go ahead, Big.
No, go ahead. What's up, Big Tuck?
Hey man, just got finished with my high school group that trains in the evenings, and so just sitting around talking to my program director, man, waiting on you guys to tell me to jump on.
All right, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off
You hear
just
me?
real quick, and because this is the thing, Tuck, and I really need your help, okay? So I'm bought into Dan Quinn, okay? Mainly because I see him moving the guys back to what made sense. I talked about Tank never should have been standing up, in my opinion. I felt like you put a lot of time into building the mechanics and the muscle memory off coming out that three-point stance and that explosion. Am I tripping, or did that alone make us better? Because when I looked at his film, all of his best years was when he was coming from the 4-3 off that edge in the three-point stance. Am I tripping?
I don't know if he can hear you. It's a delayed, huh?
No, I think.
No, he was thinking.
I think.
Oh, he was thinking. Oh, okay, my bad, Coach.
Hitting the nail right on the head with
What?
that analogy, man. I think that's something that. No, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. He's made in his league coming out of a 3-point stance.
Right.
I think that was a mistake to put him into.
It is that simple. And this is not no knock on Mike Nolan. It was just, to me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. The issue is, just to me, is that's the guy you paid. That was the best guy on your D. So I'm just that. If I don't ask anything else, that was the one thing I wanted to get to, is to make sure that my thinking was right. Because from my breakdown, Tuck, if you have any ways to expound on this, I would love to see it. Because, I ran track and I came out the blocks. So I was analogizing the 3-point stance. It's not exactly the same, but the idea of it is the same, to where it's about that first step explosion. So And coming from that 4-3 defense and concentrating on that first step explosion, I was trying to see if you could expound on that, on how putting the guys in the right position alone is going to likely make us better.
Right.
Yeah, Tuck, you can't hear me, can you? Can you hear me, Tuck?
Yeah, he on a delay, I think.
Yeah, I think he on a delay. God
He on a delay because I think he's in the area he's in that building that he's probably might be on the Wi-Fi, and it's probably taking a long time to catch him.
And so there's a little bit of a delay. But I'll definitely expound on that, because once again you're hitting the nail. Yeah, I can. Sprinters are taught coming out of from the drive phase with low heel recovery, making sure that their down hand flies past their waist, making sure that their hip thrust is going forward. All those things are things that we teach in the program. That's similar to sprinters getting in the blocks and firing out of the blocks effectively. So you're absolutely correct.
Yeah. So guys, did y'all have any questions for him? Because that was one of the, I got more, but since nobody asked you a question, I'm gonna ask you this.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, because I was just going to jump in here because one of my players, and I know you ain't going to be saying nothing bad, but I want some truths on this, B. You actually had a player that I've questioned. I've not dogged him or nothing, but I just questioned how they were picking him when they picked him in the 3rd round. Was Chauncey Golston. You trained him for the combine and for the draft. I want your thoughts on Chauncey Golston. Do you think he's better outside, or do you think he's better inside? So
Chauncey is that versatile guy that can play both. He can play both, man, because he's so darn big. He can play the 3 technique, and he can play outside. And so the defense that he came from in Iowa, Big Ten football, man, you got to be able to hold point. They played an odd surface a lot of the time, so he was at a 4 and a 4-eye. So he's used to playing down with guys on both of his shoulders. So it's not going to be foreign for him to play the 3 technique. And he's also played at a 5, to where he's had a guy on his inside shoulder when there was no tight end. And so I think that was a value pick for them. They basically picked up a 2-in-1 type of guy. It's like that, when you go buy a belt that's reversible, you got the black side and the brown side. That's what they did with picking Ghost.
Yeah, Coach, let me jump in here real quick, man. And thanks for getting on the show. And, man, love the work that you do. Me being a former offensive lineman myself, man, and always trying to figure out how to defeat these guys, slapping my hands and getting to my hip and dipping and all that stuff that you teach over there, Coach. And I know you do a great job at it. Here's the thing that I see with Golston, just to be honest, man. And, I mean, you don't have to reply to this. This is just my eyeballs. I don't see him as a guy with the initial elite first step. I think that's something that has to be developed. And I see him as a strong guy because I know a lot of guys that came out of Iowa. These guys are strong. They're really good in their core lifts. So they have strong hips, but I don't see the flexibility and the bend that I see with the D-Law, or that I saw with the D-Law initially when he came out of Boise. And so I think that that's something that it is a value pick, to your point. And I think that's something that's going to have to be developed in his game for him to be effective as a pass rusher on the NFL level, when you have the best of the best have it locking you up or trying to lock you up every single game.
So I really can't argue with you there, and okay. Partially because the film that you've seen on Ghost to this point is the scheme that Iowa had him playing in.
Okay.
All right. So he wasn't necessarily put in a position to really show if he has the mobility and the bend that you're talking about. First step quickness is key. But again, in their scheme, he may have been told to not get off the ball and read with his first step. And so, you know, a lot of that stuff is scheme based. I think it's fair to give rookies. At least training camp to see how they're being asked to play in their new system, if they're responding or not, because this is gonna be something totally foreign to Ghost scheme-wise, based on what the Cowboys are talking about they're gonna run.
Right. So are you saying, Coach, based on what you've seen, that we could potentially be pleasantly surprised at the athleticism and mobility that maybe he was not able to display based upon the scheme that he played in Iowa?
That's exactly what I'm saying. So that's exactly what I'm saying. So Ghost is the guy that I had prior to the pre-draft process. So he's been with me for a couple years. So you'll be pleasantly surprised, depending on how they use him too. Now that's gonna have a lot to do with it as well, how they play him guys.
Yeah, and I don't want to go ahead past that real quick, and I got you, Law, I promise, because you know I hear a lot, Big Brother Tuck. I hear a lot about the players suck. Right. I hear that a lot, and when I played Division I ball, and I know you played Division I ball, and first, I knew that sometimes it was the scheme we was in. Like it was too much. I called it chess, where you get the coach trying to be smarter than the athletes that's on the field, and they start putting them in the wrong positions. Can you expound on that?
Absolutely, and let's just take you know a player that's on the roster that was a rookie last year, in Neville Gallimore, right? Who was forced to play right away because of injuries to McCoy and to Hill, and you know Neville's first couple games, it looked like you know he was kind of lost in space, but as the season progressed and he got used to the speed of the game and you know the tempo, the strength of the on, you saw him start to come on in of the season. He put together 3 or 4 football games at the end of the season, and the maturation inside the program, inside that scheme that he wasn't used to playing when he was at Oklahoma. Okay. Oklahoma, he was asked to shoot and run through gaps. Well, you're going to see more of that style of play this season. So you're putting him back into his comfort zone. So I say all that to say, you know, the scheme is highly important. You can have a really skilled guy playing in a scheme that does not fit his skill set, and he's not going to perform at the level that he's supposed to perform at. That's why you have guys leave one team, go to another team, and flourish.
Facts.
Yeah, and see, and beautiful thing about that history, Tuck, is a lot of people don't see that, and that's why I have been lobbying heavily and be aggressively. Big Game James and I was like, we got to get Tuck on, because it's a major debate. But when you give people, your resume is obvious. Like, anybody don't know his resume, just look him up, man. It's not. Listen, the man is like, when your gift make room for you, you can't deny it. Let's just say how it is, right? So the man know what he doing. But when we bring a guy on like this, you got to really listen to him, because this is saying, without throwing anybody under the bus, that the Joneses was patient, but now they're going back to where their guys fit best. So I had a debate the other day, Tuck, on not drinking the Kool-Aid or drinking the Kool-Aid. I said I'm taking a sip, because I see them going back to common sense and schemes that fit our guys. Can you elaborate on that?
I think you're right. Again, I mean, you're dead on. I mean, you got guys in that room who, you know, just not to be cliche-ish, but were born to rush the quarterback, man. And so let those guys rush the quarterback, and then, you know, the guys that were built to tackle running backs, let them tackle running backs. I think the last 2 years, or especially this past year, we had a situation where we were trying to get barking dogs to bite. Let a barking dog bark, man.
Yeah.
You know, if a barking dog barks, let him bark. You know, a biting dog, let him bite. Don't get a barking dog to try to bite, man. You're not gonna have any success doing that.
Lo, I cut you off.
You already know.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a big dog right there. Yes. Hey, on that 3-tech, we got a loaded room. You got an Osa, you got your guy Ghost, you got Gallimore, you got Tristan Hill that's going to be fighting for his life. He gonna have to show up this training camp. He gonna have to show up. So, where do you see his progression for as far as this year? Because he came along last season until he got hurt. So, how do you think he's gonna fight those other guys? Is he the barking dog with teeth that's gonna bite, or he's the Chihuahua?
Nah, he's definitely not a Chihuahua now. He's definitely not a Chihuahua. I think Tristan Hill is a perfect example to talk about going from one staff, one scheme to the next. Hell, Tristan was, you know, under the Marinelli regime, you know, put him out on the curb on Wednesday morning, right? Pick him up, right? Trash. That's how they looked at him.
Right.
And then he gets a fresh start. A fresh start last year, and shit, he was starting.
Yep.
He was. Yep.
And was flashing and playing well until the injury, right? And so, you know, hopefully he's, you know, gonna be back. I mean, I would hope that the Cowboys would bring him along slowly, coming off the injury and not rushing him back out there, especially when you talk about having the type of depth that they have in the room. I hope they allow Tristan as much time as he needs to come back and be 100% from that injury.
But could
with
this
Ghost,
be, Coach,
do you allow Ghost to go ahead? My bad, fam. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Law. I'll say my thought.
I was going to just say, looking at the scouting report on Ghost, and I looked at some of his tape. He does a great job with his hand technique, and you need to work on his disengagement because he kind of play with that high pad level. So you got to get a little bit lower, and they got him as a tweener. So I do know that you spoke heavily on the scheme there. If the Cowboys looking at him to, I guess, be in that 3, do you think that he should add a little bit more to his frame, use that 6'5" frame to block the passing lanes and just shoot upfield and worry about the other stuff later? Or you think that he's best to be as that versatile weapon as the edge/interior guy?
It's a really good question. And let me first say this as I respond to that. Ghost is a real 6'5", a big dude. Okay. And so, you know, I think it's that he possesses. I think he'd be effective on the inside. I don't know if I'd want to put any more weight on him. Okay. And again, it's really gonna depend on situational football, man. You know, if it's third and 4, you know, and you think they're gonna run the ball, I'm gonna put his big butt in there, right? And then, you know, situation 3rd and 8, you know they're gonna pass it. I don't think you're gonna just it be an emergency situation to get him off the field. I think he can rush well enough from the inside and the outside to keep him on the field at that point. But again, you know, we're all going to be watching training camp very, very closely to see how they utilize him, right? Because he doesn't look like anybody else in the room. There's no one else in the room that looks like him. So I'm interested to see how they utilize him myself.
Yeah, I think, Coach, in terms of upside, when I think about Golston, I think about I think about Michael Benedict, right? When I think about his upside in terms of if he has that type of get off that you are describing, that, hey, that maybe we're missing somehow because of the scheme, right? That he could be a guy that could be a really good mismatch one-on-one inside with a slower guard that gets off the ball and still hold his own on the outside. But here's something else I want to go back to a thought, because we talked about Tristan Hill. Like, I think Tristan Hill is raw, right? I think that he still has some nuances that he has to work out. He was starting, but I think that somebody, coach, and again, you don't have to speak to this. This is just, podcasters saying their thoughts. Somebody, coach, is go get the short end of that stick, coach, because, I mean, come on now. We got Basham in there. We got Law. We drafted Golston. We got Osa. We got, we got all these guys in there, right? And so one of those guys are go kind of be on the outside looking in. And again, to your point about camp, I'll be interested to see what happens. But I think it's going to be imperative, whether you are 90% or 100%, for you to be out there and look like you're 100%, coach, based on how competitive this training camp's going to be.
I mean, I agree. Somebody is going to get the short end of the stick. That's for sure. It's a numbers game. So right. Somebody's not going to be in that room when the season starts. And so I'm pulling for all my guys.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
So somebody's going to be on the outside looking in. That's for darn sure.
Tuck.
Yeah.
What's your gut feeling on Dallas defense, especially the trenches? I'm just talking about trenches, not the back end. From the moves, the realignments, the working with the guys behind the scenes. Nobody closer than you, Tuck. Nobody got a better feeling than you, Tuck. Nobody able to smell those guys' breath but you, Tuck. So we go all get quiet and we go listen. What's your gut feeling from training with these guys?
So I am forever optimist, man. Always optimistic. The glass is half full around here, right? So I look at what they did, the move that they made. You would think on paper that they're gonna have a really good defensive line again this season. I mean, last season we thought the same thing before injury. The injury bug struck pretty hard.
It did.
But based on what they have right now, you can't help but be excited. You can't help but be excited. The only other defensive line that I think top to bottom is better than Dallas's on paper is Tampa's. All right. So people don't argue with me. Oh man, Kansas City, man, listen. Tampa and then Dallas, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
Yeah, and then my question also, I'm gonna kind of go into a question I'm hoping that you know, but I'm super excited about Parsons. When I saw that Tank was looking at his pass rush moves and was like, and I know Tank was working with you or working with you. You know what I mean? And Tank was at his best working with you. We all know that. We all know Tank best years when he was working with you, Tuck. We know that. Those of us who've been keeping up, Big Game James been keeping up with you for a minute. I did one show with you with West Coast, but we all peeped what got those guys on that level. So to hear Tank co-signing that 4.3 speed and that athleticism, also with the pass rush moves, like, what's your thoughts on his contribution, especially with them looking at him running a 4.3 under where he gonna likely play the Sam, using him as a rusher, a stand-up rusher? I want to get your thoughts on that because I'm very bullish on that, but I want to make sure I'm not over drinking Kool-Aid.
Nah, you drinking that good 2-pack, a whole cup and a half of sugar Kool-Aid right there, baby, because I'm gonna drink it with you. I've heard the same thing about his pass rush ability, and I'm talking about guys astonished by it. Like, hey man, this dude can rush.
Astonished?
He can really rush.
I told you. Told you draft night. Told you draft night.
Now, listen, y'all.
I told you draft night. So Coach Tuck.
This is King Pass Rush King, y'all. I don't want y'all to think I'm playing when I talk about this. He got a camp coming up in 2 days. He gonna plug it, but in just a second. He got a big. Matter of fact, go ahead and plug it real quick. We gonna talk about Parsons, and then if the guys got any questions, But go ahead and plug this.
So it's actually on the 24th of next month. It's actually on the 24th of next month. Yeah. So we got a couple weeks, but what we do here in Texas, man, we just really wanted to provide a platform for the big skill, offensive line and defensive line, to be able to showcase their skill set, just like the little skill does when they do 7-on-7. And so whenever you go to a college camp, they do one-on-ones with the offense, with the receivers and the DBs. They'll do one-on-ones with the O-line and the D-line, but that format wasn't available outside of college camps. And so my business partners and I decided to provide that platform. And so we came up with Trench Bullies, and we've done 3 of them so far this year. The one coming up on the 24th is going to be the last one before the football season starts. And for us here in Texas, with there being so many schools that play football in the state, when you go to their camp, there's 300 kids there, and the only way you're really going to stand out is for you to perform well in the one-on-ones. And to be on those coaches' radar before you get to the camp. The analysts that cover it, from 247 and Rivals, those high school guys that cover high school football, they all come to our events, and they're looking to identify young talent that hasn't been discovered yet, and they're also wanting to cover the players that have already received scholarship offers. And so they grace us every time they come out. They bless us with their presence, man. And we've been really, really successful with it. Guys have had their recruiting process jump started from our events. And we're super, super excited, man, for this to be the last one of the season, man. So we call it the Last Dance, July 24th at A+D1 in Carrollton, Texas, the house that Aqib Talib built. So we're super, super excited.
Real quick, OC, is that the AD1 where we had our second interview with Dennis? Is that the same location?
No, that's not the same location. This is so his location is right outside of downtown Dallas. Okay. So Talib's place is in Carrollton. So this is in Carrollton. But Coach, I'm gonna come out and support you, man. I want to shake your hand, man. I love the game. I love offensive, defensive line play. So I'm gonna come check you out, man. And I got a couple of youngins, man. I'm gonna go ahead, get them signed up, man, and let you work with them some, Coach.
Yeah, no doubt. Now.
Appreciate you.
Now, I want to be courteous to your time. And guys, did y'all have any questions? Because I do have a couple questions.
No. Go ahead, boss. Go. You over there just going nutty. Go ahead. Go.
Yeah,
just
man, I'm going nutty. Because, see, this is the deal, man. We got a lot of people that's watching, and we don't get a lot of times to talk to people who train NFL athletes, So when I get a chance to get questions answered that's going to either confirm fears or optimism, I'm going to take it. So one of the things that I'm been concerned about was just the strength of Connor Williams. So when I watch him, and I did breakdowns every week of the games that was up and coming, I always highlight the matchup. Like what matchup might get our guy. And every time it was a serious defensive tackle or one that was sitting on top of him, he lost that on a bull rush. Like, we brought on strength coaches. In my opinion, I said he needs to strengthen his anchor and he needs to strengthen his chest. What, from you looking at it with seasoned eyes, what would you say could actually help Connor Williams' game?
Yeah. So I think he's already addressed it. I think you talked about it already. It was upper body strength. And so he's going into year 3. Is that correct?
4 right now, right?
No, he's year 4. This contract year.
Contract.
Contract.
But he improved every year. I looked at that. Go ahead.
So when Connor came in the league, he was what we call over-skilled and underpowered. Right? So he wasn't a balanced football player when he came in. You've got guys that are on the contrary, overpowered and underskilled. Right? And so they don't get as exposed as quickly as guys that are underpowered and overskilled. And I think Connor has done a really good job, and the staff with the Cowboys, especially the strength and conditioning staff, has done a really good job not only putting the right type of weight on him, but getting him stronger. That offensive line group as a unit is strong. And so he really had no choice but to get in there and push that iron around to kind of make sure that he's on the same level as they are.
But I still look at him as you play spade, right? You play spade and you got that big joke in your hand. And every time I see Connor, this is what they do. They wait until like the late fourth quarter. They say, man, I know I can at least get me one book out of him. And that's when they do their power rush and they get to the quarterback. They just do it all the time. It's once a game, they at least get that bull rush and get that pressure and move the quarterback out, or they get that sack. So you mean to tell me that this year, hopefully, he can at least get some of that strength and stop that?
Yeah, man, there's tremendous pressure on that offensive line this year, right? Because you've got a perfectly repaired $100 million man back there.
Facts.
Listen, they're going to do everything they can to protect him.
All right.
So, tremendous pressure on the offensive line.
And Coach, I just want to throw something in there real quick myself. I mean, I do think that, bull rushing defense is a strength thing, but I also think it can be a technical thing, and it can be a choice of technique and how you decide to set that defensive player. And I think that what I've seen with Connor is that sometimes, man, he gets in a third and short situation, man, and he's giving too much airtime, man. He can tight set a dude. He don't gotta set back at a 45, right? Like he has a wide 3 technique, right? He can strong set a dude, you know what I'm saying? And pop him almost like it's a play action pass. And then he can actually mitigate some of that power. And even if he is weaker, he can at least sit down and try to wrestle and let the ball get out versus being up and getting carried all the way straight back to the quarterback. And those are the nasty plays that everybody see. And they just say, oh, you're so weak. But at the same time, there's also a misjudgment to me when I look at his game in terms of the sets he chooses against who and when, because the advantage you have as an offensive lineman is that you know the play. They don't. So anyway, Coach, I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
Man, great stuff, man. So, that's really fantastic. And I spent a tremendous amount of time with offensive line guys for that very reason. As a defensive lineman, we dictate to the offensive line how they take their sets based on our alignment. Okay, and so as far as Connor being able to quick set guys, if he gets him in that quick set, he's going to give up the inside, and so that's a cardinal sin. Right?
Yes.
And so
blasphemy.
Without knowing exactly what the protection was on every single snap, it's tough to critique. I've said that before. But from an overall standpoint, you're right. He needs to know. He should know at this point how to set a guy based on the play that he's been given.
Right. And
then the type of player that he has in front of him from film study.
Right.
Okay. And so, when we look at film from a defensive perspective, we always go from the ground up. We're looking for indicators. We want to pre-snap be able to read what the play is on down situation, how the offensive lineman has his feet, where what personnel group they're in. You take all those things into consideration, and the offense does the same thing. And, just to give a really, really clear illustration of that is when the Cowboys played the Rams in the NFC Championship game. And the Rams offensive line was able to pick up on their stunts, their twists, and their games because they were changing up their stance. So they go from a neutral stance to a stagger, either an outside stagger or an inside stagger, depending on which way they're going to run their stunt. So those are indicators. And they were able to pick those. They were able to pick those stunts and games up and really punish the Cowboys in that game. And so that's where film study comes in. Hopefully Connor is dedicated in the film room. Hopefully he has the guys around him that can, help him, break down and evaluate his opponents, clip by clip, and understand who he has in front of him. Because if he has a guy that's going to bull rush in front of him, hey, man, you better get ready for that load. Right. Because realistically, man, it takes zero talent to bull rush.
Exactly. That's just all effort.
Anybody come out the stands and run down the middle of a guy.
Ooh. Right. That's all effort I want to. And coach, not to belabor this, but that's my point about this whole situation is that, hey man, you can attack a defensive lineman. I mean, I know that a defensive lineman has different angles in terms of how they're going to attack, but as an offensive lineman, you can have different attack points on the chest plate or the shoulder plate of that defender, right, to try to help yourself in that pass rush situation. And the issue that I've had that I hope gets a whole lot better when you talk about a Connor Williams in particular is that if they're sliding the protection to the left, right, they're slide left, I don't have an issue with you quick setting the guy because you got somebody covering the inside. You got that center coming for you already. So if he jumps on the inside, he's folding right into the center, right? In that scenario, go ahead and do what you got to do. So anyway, that's just my little feedback, and I think that those things will probably help the Cowboys and the offensive line moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, it might. But if you got that big fella getting bull rushed, that 9 to 10 sending somebody behind him.
Yeah. Hey, and real quick, I want to say something real quick that's outside of football. He trains more than NFL guys. I want to make that clear. Because some people will think that you can't help this man because he helping us with all kind of information on his time just out of the love for Big Game James and the final word. So I just want to let y'all know, if y'all have anybody in the Dallas area that want to train, he even trained kids. His first passion, and actually he got his start in the business from training the kids first. So all the Talibs, all the beautiful building, all the facilities, all the networks, all the traveling, all the money started from kids. So keep in mind, you can refer people at a very young age that can get top training from one of the best in the country. So I just wanted to say that for the DFW area. And if anybody know anybody that need work in them trenches, it ain't nobody better. Huh, Big?
I appreciate you. And it does. It starts
my dog Tuck, he already know.
I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Tuck. I just want to tell you you're a beast.
No, you're good. Man, I appreciate you, man. And it started with the youth players, man. Football, to be able to train guys from as young as they can pay attention into the highest level, man, it's a tremendous blessing for me. I'm blessed to be in this space. I just told my group tonight, training NFL guys is great. It's good. It's good to post on social media. But I'm a player development guy, so I take great pride in being able to take a young man that doesn't know anything about the sport and not only teach him how to play the game, on the field, but also, help him develop his football IQ, understand what's being done to him or what they're attempting to do to him. And so I always training, especially young players, as a huge responsibility, man, and it's a blessing that parents trust me with their kids. So we'll always be in the youth and high school market, no matter what.
No doubt. Well, I didn't have anything else, man, and it looked like you sitting in the office, man. We don't want to hold you. I want to be very courteous of the time that you gave us.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, because I keep on asking questions. Don't ever say that with me.
No, you're
Try
good.
to get up out of there because I keep going. I'm telling you, I'm like the energized battery.
You're good, man. I'm done. I'm done for the day. We're actually gonna head down to Austin, either tomorrow or Thursday, man. University of Texas is having a camp, and so we're gonna take some of our high school clients down there, man. Let them get a look at them, and so no, you're good. I changed offices because my phone the battery was going down, so I had to put it on charger.
No, I got you improvising. Now, one thing I wanted to also tell you too is the final word can help out your clients in other ways. So I'm gonna talk about that to you when we get off air, because it's also ways to prepare people for the public, you know, and a lot of our guys need that work, right? So a lot of times when they get in, they go get that coaching, but before you get in and you're trying to get in, you need some PR coaching. So, but we'll talk about that off air. But obviously we appreciate everything you do. See, because this is what I know from playing the game and knowing trainers in the game. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping, Law Big Games and OC. The season, by the time you get to the season, it's too late. You make your biggest gains from the time they spend with the B-Tucks right after the season is over. That's what makes the season. You don't make the season by calling up Tuck 2 weeks from when everything getting ready to start. Now, you better have been with Tuck soon as the Super Bowl was over with. If you go see that explosion that you saw with Tank in 2017, it takes early work and it takes a hard work. And it's only in the off season that you go have a full great season. Am I tripping?
Nah, you listen. The NFL, you have about four weeks where you can just not do anything, right? In January, if you're not playing, deep in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl, but by Valentine's Day, you need to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's just really the game is too demanding. And like you said, there's no off season, man. You've got to constantly be doing something to prepare yourself to play. Mentally, physically, strength, skill. So everything needs to. It's a constant battle to prepare to play. And the professionals, the true professionals that have great longevity, they're going to speak about that when they retire. Being able to eat normal and do normal stuff, right? Yeah. Because of the amount of work that goes into, getting ready to play, 16 games for sure. And that's why we train year round. We Christmas Eve, we don't just Mother's Day train.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. But Tuck, man, thank you. I really appreciate you coming out. We obviously not gonna make this the last time. And we'll talk off air about other different things where we can possibly help each other, the whole group and I. So, but definitely thank you. Did y'all have anything? If not, let everybody know where to find you, because the whole thread, as long as I've been looking at it, everybody been saying, where can I follow him? So listen, y'all, I've been having his handles up too. So y'all watch the handles, and I didn't get it wrong. I got all his handles right, but tell all the people where they can find you, some of the events that's coming up, to where they can know how to help their kids and all that kind of stuff.
So Instagram is D-line_guru. And then Twitter is at TWF Training. And just a heads up, the grind is not to be televised. So you will, when you go to my social media platforms, you're gonna see some still pictures. You'll see some stuff. But if you expect to go there and see, your favorite Cowboy player going through training, you're not going to see it. So right. For me, I'm an old school guy. Training is where you need to be vulnerable. You need to take your L's in training, And so, I don't believe in putting vulnerable moments out for the public to see. So, love to have you come hit us up, man. Follow us, especially for events. But if you expect to see a bunch of pro guys running through drills,
don't show up.
Don't do it. Say
Y'all
you in the wrong spot.
Because the grind is not to be televised, man.
Nuanced people can pick those things up. Look at his foot. Look what foot he leads with. Look at that elbow, man. Look how he moved that elbow. It's wow. It's swinging wow. I can put my hand inside. So, yeah, he ain't trying to televise all that stuff. Yeah.
And it's competitive intelligence. It's
competitive
at the same time.
intelligence. I love it.
It's things that these guys develop, these trainers develop that's secret sauce. Like when you see guys like Tank, like I'm not pulling from Sweat because he played for the Redskins, but I know you are, and it's all kind of skills that they got to put into these guys that they got to keep to themselves too, because, that's why it can't be televised. You're not going to tell everybody how you teach these guys to become stars. They got to pay you for that or pay me for that. You know what I mean? That's how I go.
Intellectual property.
Exactly. But thanks again. Y'all make sure y'all do reach out to him and support him. And even sometimes just send shots of encouragement. If you get a referral, if you get somebody that need help, say, hey, Tuck, I heard you work with kids. How about this person? How about that person? I got a little legal
property, man.
Yeah. So, but thanks again, Tuck, and we go definitely do this again, man. Much love and keep doing what you're doing for the DFW and the Dallas Cowboys and even Sweat. I even say Montez Sweat. All right,
thanks,
my brother.
Coach, man. Appreciate you.
Take it easy, Coach.
Appreciate you, Big Tuck. Love you, dog.
Yes,
Dog Tuck.
All right, now we got the four together. Man, come on, bro.
Oh, I want to say something right quick on this now.
Okay, let's go.
Can we hear this? Okay, first I'm gonna go ahead and agree with. I'm glad OC brought that up about Golston, because I'm agreeing with him because I made a video about it. Okay,
right.
I made a video about Chauncey Golston and I was never dissing him. But when I made the video about him, everything that the OC said, that's what I said. I said he was better inside. He was quicker penetration on the inside. But when you saw him on the outside, B is saying his scheme, I don't know. Because when I seen him rush the passer, I seen basic moves. I seen him coming out of that stance upright. I seen when that offensive lineman locked him down, he had no counter moves to be able to counter that.
Yeah.
I didn't see the pass rushing. I didn't see the first step like OC was saying. He didn't have that first step explosiveness. And if you drafted him in the third round, you're looking at him to be the backup to D-Law. And I'm like, how is he going to be the backup to D-Law? He don't have that tick off the edge. That's why I was like, let's see if he can slide in the middle. People like, oh, well, you're hating on him. He does. Okay, well, they drafted. The only reason why I said he was overdrafted because I was like, he was great at setting the edge, right? He's great in the run game. Yeah, well, you could have got a player like that. You could have got a player like that later on too. That's all I was saying. You could have got a defensive end that plays the run good. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I felt like he was more of a versatile player, and I feel like he's better in inside because he's a big boy. He's 6'5", he's like 275. He's almost teetering at 280. So that's what I was saying with that, and I'm glad OC had brought that out and asked B that because I didn't see that tick coming off the edge.
Yeah, B, and excuse me, I called you B, my bad. Big game. Listen,
you good.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I mean, we say scheme or dream, man. You can say whatever you want, but as far as I'm concerned, I didn't, look, one-on-one, I don't see the bend. I don't see because he was wide in certain situations. He didn't play 4-eye tight to that tackle shoulder every single play, especially when he was rushing in third and long situations. So I still saw too high. I still saw hands in his chest easy. I still saw not disengaging. I still saw things that concern me as it relates to his ability coming into the NFL and to have an effective pass rush off that edge. And that's why my comparison is that, hey, maybe he's quicker than I think he is, right? Maybe he has another gear that he's going to get into. And that's why I said slide him inside one-on-one against a slow guard, Michael Benedict, right? If you think about Seattle Seahawks, right? Long, tall, tall, 275-pound dude, right? That was quick off the bump and could beat guards pretty easy. So I think that maybe that's his upside. But I agree with you, Big Game. I don't really see it if you're talking about being a tremendous edge rusher at this point. I could be surprised, but I don't see it right now. I'm just being honest.
Let me add
at the time, if they wanted to get their edge rusher, I think Ronnie Perkins was out there, and I believe was he out there during that pick?
Yeah, Perkins was still out there.
Perkins was still out there. But you talking about a 6'3" guy that's more of a rusher, and Perkins opposed to a 6'5" versatile guy that you can put a little weight on his frame and kick him inside and say, okay, yeah, we had issues stopping the run, and that is what he do best, right? He stopped the run. Ghost can do good at stopping the run, but my biggest thing is once the opposition get their hands inside, it's over with. OC, if you get your hands on the inside of him, he have no other plan of action.
Cool.
But
Game
the
over.
bull rush. It's game over. He'll have no disengagement, and he keep his pad levels too high. And I think Coach Tuck just said, yeah, we're going to have to work on that.
Well, and Tuck also talked about the scheme, right? Which I do believe scheme can kind of sometimes camouflage the talent. Like, that's why when I was talking about that 3-4 versus the 4-3 with the hand in the ground, we know that took a split second off a Tank. And if you look at most of his sacks, most of them swipes where he swiped out the ball was split seconds, right? So if you lose a split second and just even an explosion off a stance, you're losing the edge of your player. You see what I'm saying? So, and because
I can't really say it was scheme, boss. I can't really say it was scheme.
That ain't scheme.
That ain't scheme, bro. Like, watch him coming off the edge, bro.
No,
that's not scheme.
Check this out. I already wrote this in the guide, so I'm with you already, Big. Chauncey has very little explosion and has a bad habit of getting stuck on blocks. I never talked to you about that. You see what I'm saying? So all of us had the same opinion, and none of us actually even talked about this. So that's how you know it's genuine. The OC didn't pull no punches. You didn't pull no punches. And even as he was talking, I had this hidden right here on what I saw. And what I saw was what you saw. Sticks, stuck on blocks, little explosion, sometimes a lack of hustle to the ball. And that's what I saw. I did see him win against the guy that we drafted, the Nebraska guy, but not too much more than that. And I don't get hype on tape on guys you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why when we talked about our third round picks, I liked our draft. Okay, but when we talked about the reaches, it wasn't nobody saying, because people out there saying, oh, don't like him now or don't say nothing about him now. It was never that. That's why people just need to listen sometimes. It was never that. Nobody ever hated the player. It was just like where he was picked. Just like we had talked about me and you, boss. We didn't get to talk to Marcus about it. He had on his podcast when we were talking about Nashawn Wright. Nobody was saying we're hating on Nashawn, right? We're saying he was drafted in the third round. So if you're drafted in the third round in that top 100, I would expect to see you on the field early. And when I see Nashawn Wright, yeah, you're making plays. I'm not mad at that. You're making plays in training. They say making plays in rookie camp and OTAs. That's great. But it hasn't been on Dak Prescott. It's been on Ben DiNucci and it's been on Garrett Gilbert. You get what I'm saying? So my thing is, if you seen Kelvin Joseph, you got him in the second round. The last 2 second-round draft picks that you picked are defensive backs. Cheeto was a second-round draft pick. He started week 1, wasn't he? Diggs, second-round draft pick, started week 1. So let's say Kelvin Joseph comes in, takes that starting spot. All I'm asking is then, where do we find Wright then? Because we know Diggs is going to be opposite side. If you got Kelvin Joseph there, where does Wright play and what kind of time does he get on the field as a third round pick? I think in the top 100, we got to see him on the field. Slot?
We'll
see. A little. That slot ain't easy though.
It ain't easy. But
it ain't easy when you're 6'4" too.
They might kick boss man fat inside the slot.
It's a lot of green grass.
It's a lot of green grass out there.
It's a lot of green grass now. It's a lot of green grass to cover.
And I didn't really see him playing a lot of slot in college. And so everybody always thinks that, now I'm not saying you, Law, but everybody's let's throw him in the slot. That slot in there is dangerous. That's dangerous. danger. That slot is danger. You can't just throw people in the slot. That slot got to fit you, or you gonna get annihilated in that slot.
Annihilated. Yes, indeed. Yeah,
we saw. Hey, I ain't hating on Jordan Lewis, but he took some hits in that slot. I know they put up. They posted on Pro Football how he had a good percentage, but that's just because, let's be honest, I'm getting ready to do a tape on Jordan Lewis, and I'm not dogging Jordan. I love, but when they say, "Oh, he had this percentage in the slot," it was some times where them quarterbacks were overthrowing the receiver, and he was open on Jordan Lewis, and they just didn't get the pass to him.
Yeah,
that was happening.
Yeah, their plan of action now is just to put Jordan inside, close to the box, and blitz him. And they got something up their sleeve with Jordan Lewis, but this is why the training camp is right around the corner. Yeah.
I like him better outside. If they were talking about somebody starting week one, they were talking about Anthony Brown out there. Okay, they're saying he the leader. He played with a puncher lung. I give him mad props for doing that. But if you ask me, if you're going to start a veteran out there and before them rookies, you better put Jordan Lewis out there, because I feel like Jordan Lewis is an outside corner. He's not a slot corner. You just put him in there because he's shorter. But if you looked at him at Michigan, you've seen him in his rookie year, he was better on the outside and inside than me. So if you're going to start a veteran and get these rookies ready, I would rather go with a Jordan Lewis on the outside than the inside than Anthony Brown on the outside if you're starting a veteran.
And that's uniform, man. Like, everybody that ain't got no skin in the game agree with you on that, boss. I've been checking the pulse of everybody. Everybody coming around exactly what you've been saying, bro. And I've been saying that myself. That's why I took Dan Quinn from an A back down to a B. Because it's like, if you showed all this common sense on the front seven, where's the common sense on Anthony Brown? You know, now I hope I don't eat this, man.
Uh-oh.
But
with Anthony Brown.
Yeah, I did see him practicing a little bit better from the little things that I look at. You know what I mean? But see, that fooled me once, shame on you.
Fool's gold.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's no fool's gold. It'd be scaring me because every year they say Anthony Brown is doing real good in camp. Yeah. Anthony Brown's looking real good. Then we see the season, he getting cooked again. Now y'all stop lying to us like this.
Right. What a dead boy.
Now, y'all stop lying. Every year y'all want to lie to us. Stop lying to us, man. Stop it. Like, we get it. Stop. You don't gotta pump Anthony Brown to us no more. Stop it.
What he did good in 2016. Yeah.
Oh Lord, that's his saving grace. 2016.
See, I like long.
That's his saving grace. 2016. That's all we talk about with Anthony Brown. 2016.
Well, all we talk about is that
point, it wasn't that good. Like, y'all don't remember? He the one.
But
that
he was
lost
just
us
better
the
than
game
Mo
versus
Claiborne.
Green Bay.
Right. We didn't have nobody. That's why they loved him.
Can I interject something here really quick?
Go ahead.
See,
Yes,
this is what everyone is missing here. Anthony Brown is a businessman. Okay? Anthony Brown is a businessman. Listen, he's a shrewd businessman because Anthony Brown understands the heartbeat of the Cowboys organization, and he understands the high points and when he needs to look good, and he always looks good with t-shirt and shorts on. Always. And he always looks adequate, not bad at the beginning of camp. It's when we get into those games and those big third down situations that things become questionable, because then he's exposed for what he is. So I'm going to do what I need to do, coach, and I show up to these practices. I know the key ones. I know the scrimmages. I know I got to look good in a couple preseason games. I know I got to look good with these T-shirts and shorts, so I got to show up and look like I'm in good shape and show you that I at least did my running, coach. I know that because I'm going to get paid this year, and I'm going to make that 53. I'm going to get this roster. I'm going to log these games. I'm going to get this pitching, and guess what? I'm going to get paid by somebody else eventually when you figure out what is going on and you cut me. Anthony Brown is a good business man.
Hey, I'm gonna say great businessman, OC. I'm gonna say great on that one.
Great.
I'm telling you.
I'm great. I'm gonna say he's a great. He's gonna be the Orlando Standard of the team and get 3 contracts.
Orlando
get 3 contracts.
Great businessman.
And to the OC
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the Orlando Scandrick of the team. He getting 3 contracts.
To the ooh, it's hurt. To the OC's point, we used to call those types where I'm from practice superstars. I don't care where you from. We all know those types. I don't care if you played Little League, middle school, high school, college, Division I, NFL. There are people, they show up when, like what the OC said, they're practice superstars. Xavier Woods was like that. He tricked everybody because of training camp. Ooh, he's getting the ball. Ooh, look at all those interceptions. My boy West Coast even apologized to him, bumped into him at training camp and said, hey, man, my bad. You've been balling out here. He gave him credit, but he gave him credit a little bit too early. You know what I'm saying? And I think the OC hit on something with that, man. It's showing up for the pressure of getting paid, but then after you make the roster, fools go, like what Big Game said.
So the next y'all three is Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown same person?
Hell, man, no. Law, come on. What you see? Law, what you doing? What you up to? What you up to?
Both of them got paid, so we got to figure out. They both got paid. They both accept that marginal contract. So they're not going anywhere. They both got that money.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, Law. Let me say this about that. I feel like they both accepted those marginal contracts because there wasn't going to be no market for you. That's why they jumped on them contracts quick as hell. You see how quick they probably offered that, and Jordan said, "Okay." I mean, because let's keep it real. No hate. What kind of market was going to be out there for Jordan Lewis that he was going to get a contract like that? What kind of market was going to be out there for Anthony Brown that he was going to get a contract like that? You get what I'm saying? Yep. But I say the difference between them two is the mentality. I'm going to take a Jordan Lewis over Anthony Brown because that mentality is more doggish from Jordan Lewis. He ain't going to back down. He's going to challenge receivers. Even if he get beat, he's still going to get in your face. Me, when I see Anthony Brown, when he get beat, I don't see that. I see him just being quiet and just, okay, whatever, just go back to the huddle and try to. I mean, I'm not saying maybe that's the mentality because I'm not him, but I'm just saying what I look and I see.
Body language.
I don't see the body language. I don't see that doggish attitude and mentality from an Anthony Brown. I feel like when people go after him, he like, I don't want that. I don't see him jumping up and stepping up to the challenge. He don't got the doggish mentality to me. I'm sorry. They can call him the leader on the team. That's fine, but I don't see it from Anthony Brown. I don't see it. And I don't know why he still is able to stay on his team. But like the OC said, to his point, he a great businessman. He know how to do it. Because when I look at from afar, how are you still making this squad and how are you still talking about in the conversation being a starter on this team?
How?
Yeah, and to your point, Big Game James, I agree. I'll second it. Jordan Lewis brings more of a hunger. He brings more of a competitive spirit. He brings more of a willingness to mix it up. You know, it's not just losing and winning. There is something to say about how you lose.
Yes.
And even when you see Jordan Lewis losing on a route or losing on a one-on-one, you see him fighting and clawing and trying to make that play. You don't get that same sense when you look at an Anthony Brown. You get a mope. At times you've gotten a loaf, or at times you've gotten a neutral response, no body language when I just got beat on a big play. So I'm going to take the guy that's going to compete over the guy that is a lookalike. Sorry.
And then I got something to say about the Marcus because
that's
I think
real
the
stuff.
Marcus was totally different, Law. So, like, in this market, because I wrote the book both years, I'm not acting like I'm all that when I say that, but, you know, I wrote the Boss Cowboy Guide where I dealt with a lot of the free agents. This year, the corner class in the free agent market was deep. So this is where Jordan Lewis would probably need to reach if he want to just stay on the team. Last year, the free agent market was bad. It was real bad. It was lean and not talented. You know what I mean? So Anthony Brown got his contract, a real team-friendly contract, when he really could have drove up the market. He really stayed at a place that was go bet on him because they like him. And people don't act like that don't happen here, because Witten himself came out and said, I'm with the Cowboys. If I would have been on any other team, I would have been fired. So we do pay people based on liking them, believing in them, or being our guy. And this is clear by now. No conspiracy theory at this point. Anthony Brown is one of the favorites. He's one of the front office favorites, and somebody bet on him, and they not willing to divorce him. They giving him every chance to make whoever bet on him right. And whoever bet on him from a high level. You dealing likely with a top level Jones that bet on Anthony Brown, because everybody gets overrolled for him, and it's against logic. Like, everybody sitting here like, now he got cooked, but then they come out with the cracked ribs and they start saying you didn't talk about.
Oh, he played with a puncture, right? Why didn't you say he had it during the season?
Right.
Yep.
Now you're gonna come.
They're gonna
it's
say,
almost
well,
like you saving it.
Strong.
Yeah, and that's how they
two interceptions, right? And they're gonna use that,
and that's how they spin it
against the 49ers.
Yep, that's a great point. What you just said, boss. How they always spin it. Why didn't you tell them he had a punctured lung during the season? Why didn't y'all tell us? Why didn't y'all say anything like what was going to make a big difference? You feel me? What y'all did was when we saw Anthony Brown could be a starter on this team again, y'all knew everybody was gonna be like, oh hell no, Anthony Brown trash. Hey, let's put out there that he got a punctured lung. Put out there that his punctured lung and he still was playing. Put out there so we make him all, and then when the story comes out, and I'm gonna keep it real, y'all. Lord, forgive me for this, Jesus. But when he came out and said Anthony Brown had a punctured lung, and everybody, oh man, okay, I was like, I don't give a hell. Lord, forgive me. Lord,
let me
forgive
just
me.
let me say something. A punctured lung is a serious injury, so I believe some of these stories are completely outlandish. Okay, first of all, a punctured lung, if you have a punctured lung, it is going to be extremely hard for you to play yet breathe well. Okay, a punctured lung.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop. I don't want to.
Freaking long.
I don't want to say anything. I don't want to go too far. I promised Boss Cowboy I wouldn't go too far, so I'm gonna stop right here.
Go far. I want you to go far.
No, a punctured lung, Boss Cowboy. I'm gonna punt this to you. A punctured lung. Come on.
I'm gonna flip the script on you right now. I'm gonna flip the script on everybody. See, because it was a couple of things we could get to that I really wanted to get to with Marcus, but I'm gonna talk it to it with the 4 killer team real quick. Y'all listen to this and tell me what y'all think. And let's talk all real, no fake, no punting, no tripping.
That ain't never coming.
I already know how you rock. But hey, let's talk about this. Listen to this.
Kelvin Joseph back on the field. Sounds like he had an illness. I don't think it necessarily was COVID related. Maybe I'm missing out on this, but he had to quarantine from the team a little bit. He's back. Sounds like he did work with the ones yesterday. Any comments on Kelvin Joseph rejoining the team?
Well, I'm confused on why he would have to quarantine if it wasn't COVID. I mean, we don't know, but the whole thing was a little bit odd. So I'm actually kind of wondering if he did have COVID.
He might. They also said he had to do some individual work by himself during his time off. I wonder if he came in a little out of shape.
That could also be it as well. Certainly.
When I say I wonder, I definitely know that he came in a little out of shape. I definitely know that he came in a little out of shape. When I say I wonder, I definitely know that he came in a little. When I say I wonder, I definitely know that he came in a little out of shape.
I was gonna say you don't wonder very much on this podcast without knowing.
Now, let me be first on this, because I'm gonna really try to strike balance with this. Marcus also said a little bit after that he is better now, right? And and if it is COVID, I think everybody need to kind of take a pause, right, on a judgment on Boss Man, because they also brought up on that podcast, which I think is super true. If you watch the pattern of the players that got hit with COVID, it lingered on them, bro. Everybody know Cam was playing good until he got COVID. Once he got COVID, he played different, he breathed different, he looked different. Zeke was looking fresh, he got COVID, it lingered on him. I think it led into a bad year. And then I think it was a good point that he made. Why would you quarantine somebody that did not have COVID? You see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, and this is why I want people to don't judge Boss Man so fast. This is just my opinion, all right? don't judge Boss Man so fast because COVID, depending on the degree of how bad it might have hit you, they say it's like being a 20-year smoker. You know what I mean? So you got to give guys time for their bodies to get back adjusted. It's a lot of people that's ready to snipe at Boss Man too early. You know what I mean? Because it don't even make sense for you to go through all this combine work and all that kind of stuff and so-called be out of shape. If it's COVID, everybody got to get his man at least to the middle training camp or preseason to where you even see him at himself. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll jump in here first, man. As a COVID survivor, I can tell you, yes, it does take you a few months to get your wind back underneath you. I had COVID. It hit me pretty hard. A few months. All right, I had COVID and I was down for about 3 weeks. All right, and I had bad COVID. I lost 16 pounds, wasn't eating. It was a bad situation. And I worked out, and Boss Cowboy, I work out quite often. I was working out at that time, probably four to five times a week. And I went back after I just got over my symptoms after about 3 weeks, and I couldn't last on a Stairmaster on a low level for like more than 5 minutes. I was completely winded. I had to get off and stop. I left the gym. I couldn't. So it took me quite a while for me to clear my lungs and get my strength back. Now I'm good. Now I'm 110%. But you don't quarantine unless you're sick. That dude was sick. And the Cowboys are masters at managing public image and mastering media perception. So it wouldn't surprise me that they didn't announce if he had COVID, but it's no reason to quarantine whatsoever if you don't have the SARS virus or COVID-19. So to me, this man was sick.
My thing is,
go ahead,
Big Game.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Law.
Yeah, my thing is the off season, and it says OFF in front of the season for a reason. I think that the Dallas Cowboys, collectively speaking, man, we pump up, we hype up, and we try to do this thing too much. We do too much evaluations. There will be more conversations about Boss Man fat. Is he in shape? If he's not in shape, will he be able to play? Will he not be able to play? Then the news of Zaven Collins going 75 in the 35-mile-per-hour speed zone, right? There's more troubling.
Or Frank Clark.
Yeah, or Frank Clark, for crying out loud, with Uzis in his truck or car.
Preach.
And there will be more conversations about this guy. Can he play for the Dallas Cowboys? And I'm sitting here thinking, thank God we didn't have a Zaven Collins on this team at this point, because who knows what would happen. And I hope all is well with him and everybody else, but allow training camp to come through. Let this kid do whatever he want to do, mixtape, rap, bebop, whatever he want to do, sell T-shirts and hats and do all of the other things, skateboard. Let him do what he got to do. But when it's time to get on that field, you got people like we just mentioned, Anthony Get Down Brown, Jordan Lewis, Nashawn Wright, Israel Mukramu, all of those boys, they sitting there saying, yeah, Boss Man, drink. Yeah, Boss Man, smoke, because I want that spot. I want that role. Hey, you can go do that all what you want. You can
smoke weed every day.
Because I want that spot. I want that spot. So go ahead, boss. I can even tell you where the man is at around the corner, because that's what this is. This is iron sharpen iron, steel sharpen steel. But I want all of the Cowboy fans to pump the brakes. Let that kid be a 21 or 22-year-old kid.
Oh my God, that was so
that's
good.
Gonna be the holler. Y'all go see that segment again. I'm gonna tell you that.
That was.
Damn
that
it.
was
You so hit the button before you go off like that, Law, bro.
Yeah, that was good.
Damn.
That was great. Because
we go get it. We learn how to play.
Go
ahead, Big.
Well, my thoughts on Boss are this: Boss Man Fat. I mean, I'm not really tripping off of him. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, But I will say this: I definitely feel like he has the talent. But he does have to understand he's going to be on the microscope. We can say this, whatever. We can talk about it all we want. Leave him alone. Ain't nobody leaving him alone.
Facts.
He had those red flags before he came to the team.
Right? That's real big.
People going to stare. I don't care. They're not going to look at Chauncey Golston like they look at Boss Man Fat. That's just the way it is. And I'm sorry it's like that, but that's the way it is. If Chauncey Golston came in with flags, they'd be looking at him and watching him. That's what's going to happen. And as much as we will say, just leave him alone and let him play, they're not going to leave him alone. And he's going to have to stay on his job and his business, because that eye light is on him no matter what he thinks. Everybody is watching what Boss Man Fat does. So he's really, I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's a bad kid or whatever, but make sure you just keep a good circle, because there's a lot of people waiting for you to slip up, it seems like to me, in my opinion. So is how unfair it may be, Boss Cowboy, I mean Boss has that target on his back right now, and he's got to prove it. He's got a target, so he's got to prove it. Any little thing he does, guess what? Going to be in that media. So it's unfair, but just make sure he keeps a good circle around him. That's people that's always going to tell him the good things, because one little slip up from him, it's going to be overblown.
Yeah, man, and we've been on here for 2 hours. I know we can all keep rocking easily. You know what I'm saying? But I want to be.
I ain't going no 4 hours now.
Yeah, I want to be respectful of the panel. I even saw behind the scenes, man. I got a snitch on my boy Law. He took him a nice little, y'all know. He took him a nice little. So man, that's the love.
Oh, you can still see me, huh?
Oh yeah, I can still see you, man. My boy let it out too, like. Oh, he took him a nice one. I said, I'm not gonna even stay on not a 2 minute more, man. My boy he on fumes right now, probably drinking coffee at night to get through the show. I said, man, y'all better know that this man put in that work for this content, y'all. See, before we get out of here though,
oh my God,
y'all make sure y'all like and subscribe, and everybody on here, man. Law Nation, please tell the people where they can find you. I've been showing. And then, hold on. Matter of fact, I'm going to start off with the final words. And then I'm going to just we'll all have final words real quick. Final words for me. All right. So the final words for me is, if Marcus Mosher is right on Tyron Smith, that is epic. If he's right on Parsons being so good, you can't even compare him to anybody but maybe like a LT. Oh my God. Like, I'm so encouraged just from today's show. Brandon Tuck, who I greatly respect, right? Like, I threw out the theories, and every time I threw out the 3 theories of Dan Quinn putting that guy hand back in the ground, he said, I can't add nothing to it. You right. And then that defense is going to be better because the guy's hand in the ground. So just from today's show, if you stayed the whole way, you should be encouraged about the Dallas Cowboy defense. If you're not encouraged, if you're on some Dalton Thomas, that's just because you scorned. But if you're looking at the tea leaves of what's being built, I do question the back four with Anthony Brown, but I'm very, very excited about the front seven and the content that came from today's show. So make sure y'all follow Boss Cowboy Sports. That's my final word, and follow everybody that's a part of this panel, because you know we bring it. It is no doubt.
Oh yeah, man, that's good stuff. You want me to start my final word, or who next?
Nah, because I like to say
go last, you know that. Come on,
yeah,
man.
you go last, Law. You go last, Law, and then you and OC can go last. I'm gonna just say my final word is this. I'm a defensive guy. Y'all know that. I talk about defense all day, all night, and then the next day I'll talk about defense. But my final word today is this offense gonna be nasty.
Yes. Woo.
This offense gonna be epic, like my dog Boss Cowboys loves to say, epic. It's gonna be epic because this is what, year 3 with Dak and Kellen in the offense. This is year 3 with you got Cooper back, you got Gallup. They all been together for how long? CD, it's his second year with them. Blake Jarwin. This is a veteran group as far as them being together. And what do we know about football teams, y'all? OC, Law, Boss. We know if we were playing together, right? We grew up together and we had a 4-man squad and we just added one. We would feel like we could go anywhere and beat anybody, right? Because we know each other. We continuity. Well, I remember I used to go with my homeboys and play, and we didn't have to talk to each other. We didn't have to say anything because we knew each other. It was we didn't have to make this cut right here and I'll hit you with this bounce pass. It was already know to make the cut and I'm gonna hit you with the bounce pass. You feel me? And that's what the offense is going to be this year. You're not going to have to talk until you be right here and you need to be right here. It's already going to be known because the familiarity with each other, and with Dak coming back, this is going to be a well-oiled machine. It's going to be very dynamic because they all been together and it's veteranish, especially with that coordinator. And watch Kellen Moore go nutty this year. I'm calling it.
Woo! Yoga flame.
Yeah. So I'm going to let Law go last. My final word is simply this, man. If the leader of the offensive line's mentality is to play every game and to play for another 4 or 5 years, that extrapolates to every other player in that offensive group. Look for the offensive line to be extremely nasty this year, and look for Ezekiel Elliott to have a fantastic year. Look for Micah Parsons to compete for the Rookie of the Year and potentially make a Pro Bowl being a joker in that defense. That's the OC's final word.
All right, man.
I like
That's
that word you
stuff.
said, extrapolate.
Extrapolates. Yes. And I elucidated this right here, Cowboy Nation. Big word. But write this down. This Dak Prescott said, hey, I buried the ankle situation. It's over me now. You know, I'm thinking about the future. And Tyron Smith, he said that, hey, this is his pretty much first surgery, that now he's not worried about not feeling his arm. Now he's going to be ready. Write this down. It all starts up front. Yards per play. In 2019, when our offensive line was healthy, we was number 1 yards per play. Last season, we was ranked 22nd. Pass block win rate, we was 11th when in 2019 when our offense was all put together. We was 26th last season. Let that sink into your mental. Oh, Ezekiel Elliott. Big Game James been posting all type of good workout mechanics that he been doing. And he looks like he's in shape. He got that combo weight off of him. Run, block, win rate. 2019, 5th. Last season, 15th. I come here to tell you guys that we finna be better than all of that stuff. So with that being said, with a healthy Ezekiel Elliott, no COVID, with a healthy Dak Prescott, hey, that ankle is intact. Oh, that offensive line, Zach Martin, Lael Collins, as well as Tyron Smith. We looking to get some damage control going back in the right flavors for the Dallas Cowboys. And you talk about continuity. Hey, Kellen Moore, 3rd year, gonna be his best year. So let's continue to grind. That's my final word.
Shit.
I like them stats.
Hey man, listen.
Appreciate it.
It's good
All right.
stuff.
And real quick, if y'all liked everything that y'all saw today, because we know we brought a quality panel with Marcus Mosher and Brandon Tuck. We also got potentially 2 former NFL receivers that's gonna be in the house Thursday. So you might see the final word all again just in 2 more days, where you're gonna be able to get the same type of insight that you just got, right? Which a lot of people not doing right now. So we gonna be bringing in a bunch of power panels, and we already booked up to next week again. You know what I mean? So we not gonna say what's out there. We not gonna say who coming in. We gonna make sure they come in. Then we gonna tell you they here. You know what I mean? But I'm loving the football conversations and the high level things that's coming from everybody, man. And so obviously I love all the fellas that's on here, man. Thank y'all for giving us the Cowboy Nation. But if you're not excited right now, ain't nothing gonna excite you. All right, for real, ain't nothing gonna excite you. So
it's gonna be an exciting training camp. And you know it's gonna be an exciting training camp when dang near all the Cowboys YouTubers are gonna be there this year. You know it's gonna be hype, because I know when me and Law kicked it, what was it, 2019 Law?
Yeah.
And then I went 2018, and it was it's a good amount of people. But I don't know. To me, since I've been going to camps and since I actually started my podcast in 2017. This seems like one of the most exciting camps in a long time. There's a great anticipation for this camp, a big anticipation for this camp. And I think it's going to be different. I think the Dan Quinn element is the one that really adds to it.
Yes, indeed. Dan Quinn. Let's get it in.
Yeah, and then we also got some special plans with the final word that's gonna be going on at training camp. That obviously we go do something great. You know what I mean? So y'all keep your eyes open for that. You know, we already putting the pieces together for it, where it's gonna be first class and full of content, and it's gonna be the guys that you trust. Law, big, they gonna tell you what they see. They not gonna cater. They not. They gonna say what they see. And so we gonna give you hold on. They gonna tell you what they see, man.
Yeah. All the mamas cooking.
Sprinkle me. That Kwame Brown mama's cooking.
So y'all
you don't want that Kwame Brown mama cooking.
Say, look here. So no, but this was the final word, man. This was the final word, and y'all gonna see a whole bunch of more of the final word. We still gelling like a basketball team. Law still having them fantastic laying down the law, but I ain't queued up enough to read them to know when it's coming to hit this button for a segment. But definitely y'all stay with us, man. It's been fun, and we gonna keep doing this, man. We gonna keep bringing all of this to the Cowboy Nation with First Class. Y'all stay up.
I just wanna run it up. Kinda check or something. I've been really in the field, let up, yeah. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check or something. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count up. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Need them ones, I need them fives. Need them tens, I need that change. Till the safe got blues inside. Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play, charge it to the game. I'm with L, yeah, I'm with T Black, I'm with Reverend now. I'm with Bay, yeah, I'm with Jay, yeah, I'm with Chuck and now. Still the same, not switching sides, now it's about loyalty. You switch sides off for the bag, and that's worth more to me. I mix Nike with designer, I experiment. You just rock what's on the shelf, and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer, call it too legit. I've been really in the field, let her rush, I let her feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.